Wow, that went crazy. Hey, y'all. As you join on, trying to get just the right angle. I don't want to play dizzy with the fan in the background. So turn that off. So hello, and welcome. I'm looking for Miss Brittney Blackerby. Hi, Noelle. How are you? It's great to meet you. And terrific. We have got our special guest coming on. Hey, Lindsay. I think you are here as well. Let me, I know. I'm going to do this. Y'all, today is one of my most favorite weeks. I can't talk and type at the same time. Of the month. Today is Featured Female Day. So pardon me while I seek her out. I know she's on. Here we go. Let's see if that'll help. And we're going to have her join us. I cannot wait for you all to meet this just dynamic woman. And I really appreciate her sharing her time with us today because this gal is busy. So, hey, she's waving. And so I just need to get that invite request to be added. Now, y'all, legit, we did a dry run of this earlier and we deleted it because, well, it's a little embarrassing, but I just need for Brittney to request to be on here, and then we will go live and in depth. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm talking about. And here she comes. Here she comes. Thank you, technology. And there she comes.
Hey,
How are you again?
I'm good. I just ran in. I'm actually in my husband's office. I was like, let me go run. It's like 11:45. So it's funny that you're like, she's busy because, yeah, that's so true.
Exactly. Well, before we get too far into it, because girl, we could talk, you and I, for hours because
Yeah.
we have a shared heart, I believe. But I want to make sure everybody knows who you are and who I am and where they are. So
Yeah.
welcome to everybody who chimed in and who'll be joining us. I'm Daphne Smith, and as I stated very early on, this is one of my most favorite weeks of the month. So every week I do Facebook Live, and one time a month I get to have a featured female. And today I'm being joined by this. This is so
Did
I
it?
just had a phone call come in. I don't know. Anyway,
Oh, okay. That's what it was. I was like, oh gosh, it may be my connection.
no, that's hilarious. I've never had a phone call come in while Facebook Live. Now we know what happens.
Yes.
Anyway, I've got Brittney Blackerby all the way from Sheridan, Arkansas. I think we figured about 3.5, 4 hours
Yes.
away.
I guess it depends on how you drive.
Yeah, well, this is social media. We won't disclose that,
Yes.
okay? But in case y'all are noticing, we are twinning on purpose,
Yes.
twinning and winning. Break the silence.
Yes.
Shirts we're wearing, and you're going to learn a little bit more about that. But right now, I want to introduce you all to Brittney Blackerby. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about her, and then I'm going to ask her to share in her own words. So I met Brittney really just kind of a couple months ago. I think Tammy's sharing some love with you, Brittany. That's great. And I met Brittany, or I became aware of Brittany through another connection, Helen Elizabeth,
Mm-hmm.
who really stuck out to me because of one of my connections, Lisa Mosier, who's in Columbus, Ohio. So, thanks to technology and social media, we can connect with people literally anywhere.
Yes.
And I learned a little bit about Brittany, and I knew immediately, as I said, we're connected in the heart. We have a kindred spirit. And I posted something on social media yesterday about some people might say our connection is through being victims, but I know you and I both have the mindset that our connection is through being victors. So, Brittany,
Yes.
tell us about your passion and break the silence. Kind of give us a little bit of an introduction, and I've got some questions I want to ask you.
Okay, yeah. So it started about 5 years ago. So it really didn't start. I'm 25, so it didn't start until I was about 20. This isn't something that I grew up thinking this is what I would do with my life. I never thought I would speak publicly about my personal story or my testimony. Um, I've always been outgoing. I wasn't necessarily shy, but I wasn't just open about, this happened to me and this is my story. And it's just a big power of God, really, that got me to where I am, of giving me the voice and the strength that He's given me to be able to tell my story. I actually went off to college and thought, I'm just going to major in whatever's going to make me money and just go from there. I didn't know what my passion would be. And then just through a bunch of crazy coincidences, which only explanation is God, I discovered that my passion would be to prevent child abuse because I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I went through. And so through the past 5 years of work and discovering this passion and expressing it and being a big advocate, I've seen so many survivors just come forward. And it could be because of my age or my willingness, I guess, to just kind of step out and talk about it. I'm not really sure, or really just because of God too, but it's just crazy the amount of survivors who are willing to say, because of Break the Silence, I broke my silence, or I got counseling, or I'm getting the help that I needed, or I feel that I'm set free now. And so since I see so much of the survivor aspect of it, that's kind of our main goal, is to be able to provide services to survivors, because I don't think society's necessarily doing a disservice to survivors, but, we want to prevent, which is amazing. Yes, definitely prevent it. These kids do not need to go through things like this. But then, yeah, what do you do with them after it happens? Do we just let them go and figure out their path by themselves and just kind of forget about them? So I really want to do a big service to those survivors and get them the help that they need.
Yeah, and Brittany, you hit on something key. So first of all, who would have thought that your pageant connection, right? Because
Yeah.
for those who don't know, Lisa Mosier was Mrs. International. And so she and Helen Elizabeth were connected through that system. And that's how you and Helen were connected.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa and I are both authors. So this has all come full circle.
Yes.
And, I think the general public assumption is, well, she's a pageant girl. She doesn't have any problems.
Yes.
And yet you need to have a platform. And because of, as you said, your personal testimony, that is what gave you the platform and the passion, because prevention, I mean, it's fantastic. You and I are both victors. We're survivors. We're overcomers. Wouldn't it be great if there was prevention and we didn't have to have that title to begin with, right?
Yes. Yes.
So one of the things that you have done is you have established a 501c3. Holy wow.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. That's amazing. Now I'm going to share, you said, because I sent Brittany some questions, right? So that we could both kind of be a little prepared for today. It wasn't totally impromptu. But first of all, before I tell you what I asked her, If you want to share some love with Brittney, if you want to say hello, just type in the comments hello, so we know you're still with us and we know that you're watching.
Yes.
And I asked you about the 501c3. You said that a mentor encouraged you and you thought she was crazy.
Yes.
Like you put an exclamation point after it. So this wasn't on your radar, but you're being obedient to where God is leading you, right?
Yeah, I feel that way for sure. Probably my junior year of college during my undergrad, I felt a calling to nonprofits because I was discovering nonprofits. I was discovering child safety centers. I was discovering all these different types of organizations, whether it's domestic violence, child abuse, suicide, whatever it may be. I was discovering all these nonprofits and their heart behind it. And I just thought, wow, I love this. I love this work. I love this service. So I felt a calling toward nonprofits back in my junior year, but I thought that's going to be me working at one, me being a counselor at one, or me volunteering at one, or me being an advocate at one. That's not going to be me starting one. And little did I know that that calling, that passion that started then was going to lead to now. So I had that mentor that said, you know, look at all the work that you've done and you don't even have it as an official 501c3. So why not start it? And I'm like, no, I am not capable of that. That is not possible. No, I do not even know where to start. I don't know how to do it. No, just no. And then it was as if like, okay, God's like, yes, that is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, I thought that would be a clear enough picture for you, but here's some other doors that I'm going to open right in front of your face. So maybe this will make you realize that this is the path I want you to go down. And it happened so fast. But again, I knew that if these doors were opening and things were happening, it couldn't be more true that it's God's path for me. I mean, how would I have met you or been on other podcasts that I've been on or lives throughout the last 6 months or met the people that I've met or just the doors that have opened? I mean, it's just so clear. It's such a reassurance that it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, yeah. And starting a 501c3, I mean, personally, I can't wrap my head around that.
I can't either.
But you're doing it, and that's what's making a difference. And one of the questions I asked Brittney was, you know, how can we spread the word? And you said simply share on social. And that really kind of struck me, Brittney, because we are willing to put, well, not you and me, but some people are willing to put just about anything on social media, from what they had for breakfast to what their favorite movie was, right?
Right.
And when we do that, we're becoming influencers and we are having an impact. And people can do the same thing. This, I think, is, you know, and we've talked about God a little bit. God has timing. He has a perfect plan. And I mean, what better time than now? My book released 2 days ago. We have this interview scheduled.
Yes.
Because our connections, our voices together, breaking the silence and getting women to take that mask off so that they can truly live in victory. I mean, does it get better than that?
I know. It's so funny that you say that because while I was getting ready, I thought, how big of a coincidence is it that, well, just how big God opens these doors and how he does these things, that I'm doing this live. This has been scheduled, what, a month maybe? I don't know, a couple weeks at least, that I'm doing it today. And within the last 48 hours, I've been presented with the opportunity to have an actual office space for Break the Silence in town. And I'm like, how crazy that, like, you know, I'm able to say that on this live and share that with you and share this with Facebook, and just whoever I can share it with, because how crazy that all that happened. I mean, I feel like this has been the craziest week of my life, but it's just busy and everything. But I'm like, okay, I was presented with this in the last 48 hours, and then it's all in the same week that I had this scheduled with Daphne. Like,
Yeah.
What other explanation is that, you know? And so,
Right.
Yeah, we were presented with that opportunity, and it's definitely something that I think would be our next step. But yeah, it's just crazy how each week kind of keeps you on your toes too, because you don't know one week to the next, and that's fun.
For sure, for sure. Now, I will tell you, as soon as you said that, I had little spirit bumps.
Oh,
My hairs on my arms stood up. So for those of you who are watching either live or we're going to see the recording of this, If you will be willing to agree in prayer that Brittney gets the discernment and the decision she needs to make about the office, type prayer in the comments, and we'll know that you are praying for her to have the clarity to make the correct decision for the journey. And I will just give you a little side note, sweetheart. And I think most people know this because I think I saw something about it on social media. So shoot me later if I'm not supposed to say this. You're expecting your first baby.
Yes, so hopefully when I showed the shirt earlier, you don't see too
Baby
much
bump.
of the baby
So
bump.
while you currently think this is the craziest week of your life,
Yes, I know.
hold on, girlfriend.
I literally thought that too. I'm like, right now, this is the craziest week of my life, but in 4 months, 4 to 5 months, it's going to get a lot crazier.
Whole different level of crazy. That's awesome.
Yes.
So we got Noelle agreeing to pray with you and Cindy agreeing to pray with you and me. And so thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Yes, thank
Now,
you so much.
I want to ask you to share, because I already, know the answer to this question, but what would you say to someone who is currently in an abusive situation? What's kind of something that you would encourage them with?
Yeah, there's so much that you want to say. But biggest of all, maybe, is just that you're not alone and it's not your fault. You feel when you go through something like that, you feel absolutely that it's your fault, something's wrong with you, or that you are alone. No one's going to believe you, or no one else is actually going through this. And so to tell someone that I promise you, you're not alone and that it's not your fault, if you speak up and get that help that you need, you can overcome what's happening to you. There's so much that you want to tell people. Just the list goes on and on of encouragement and motivation, because you want these people to be helped so bad, and you want to give that to them or provide that to them somehow. And there's just times where it's hard because you may see someone who never chooses to. And that can feel very defeating on this side of things, because it's like, well, what am I doing what I'm even supposed to be doing? Am I even helping? Am I even making a difference? But if you at least give that little bit of encouragement or that motivation, let them know that you're there, then yes, you have tried and you've been there for them. That's why I posted recently, support survivors, believe survivors. Just being there for one another does so much for someone. Like I said, you're feeling alone, so you know that someone's there for you that you can talk to, then how big of a difference or how much help that makes just itself. It doesn't mean going on Facebook Live, or immediately walking into a counseling office, because I understand the shame that comes behind that too. I don't want to be seen going to that support group or to that counseling office or whatever. It doesn't mean just or stepping on a stage and admitting it or saying that it's happening, but just being able to talk one-on-one with someone is just so freeing in itself.
Yeah. So what I think we both want women, especially, to realize, women, children, your past nor your present situation determines your worth and your value.
Yep.
This is not something that you have to live with or stay within just because it's what's familiar.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
So one of the things I asked you to do was to project a year from now.
Oh, goodness.
We're going to want to see break the silence, victim to victory. So you're in your office. I'm going to claim that.
Yes.
Baby on hip.
Yes, exactly.
You shared something that really caught my attention about a support group, about curriculum. Can you expand for just a couple minutes on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people have asked, what's the next step for Break the Silence? You've become official. You are continuously, selling t-shirts or getting this merchandise, and you're continuously posting on social media and fundraising and having all these events, so awareness is very, very important. And just sharing the mission and asking people to join the movement. Yes, that's very, very important just to have the awareness. But yes, what's next? And I get that question all the time. And so I tell people that ultimately our goal is to have a support group for survivors to be able to come to. And so since we started this year, kind of back in May, and went through the process of becoming official and everything's going on from here and having events, I pictured it that the support group would possibly start in a year. So next fall, that way we would have the curriculum by then, what kind of I guess, agenda can we go by? I don't necessarily feel like it has to be like a class, because again, just sitting and talking to other people who have been through what you've been through, that just does a tremendous amount of work to yourself and to your heart. And so even if it was just nights where all we do is sit and talk, we don't have to necessarily have that agenda, but if we had that curriculum of, what are some different therapies or what are some different things that we can do in order to help our personal recovery process, or if that meant bringing licensed therapists in who specifically deal with people who have been through such trauma. The list just goes on and on of getting that curriculum together and having it prepared and starting next fall, and then being able to spread that curriculum to other people so that they can start that support group where they're at. But now that this has been presented in the last 48 hours, it's almost like, well, the support group may be able to start sooner, which would be even better.
Yeah.
So I pictured in a year, yes, a 6-month-old on my hip or something, and possibly with me every day at work, who knows? But having this space, and even I didn't know, I mean, I just dream big kind of in a way of, or you never know what God's going to do, if there would even be a space. I've got such a good connection. Sheridan people are so supportive and the community is so great that I thought, if I don't have a space, I have people who would be willing to give their business or their space for us to have that there. So I didn't necessarily have this all pictured in my head, but now that this space has been presented to us, it's a little 3-bedroom, little bitty place with a little bath too. And you have your office space, so you can have that one room where people can buy merchandise or, find out information, get pamphlets, whatever it may be. And then you have that one room where there can be board meetings and support group meetings. And then you just have that other room, whether that's for storage or whatever it may be. And then you have all your events there for awareness, like the events we've been having. So yeah, just in a year from now, seeing that the support groups are up and going to where if I do another live with you in a year, or go speak it to a Rotary, or go wherever it may be, I can say, here's what we're doing. If you want to start it where you're at, here's the curriculum, and you can take it and run with it. So
Yeah, I love that. And I want to talk about an event coming up sooner than next year. I also want to talk about ways that people can get involved. Okay. I know one of the things you need is experienced expertise.
Yes.
So if there's somebody watching this video, or somebody knows of someone who is looking for an opportunity to give back, you need help with fundraising, establishing the mission, raising the awareness, branding, all of those types of resources, skills, and talents would benefit Break the Silence, whether somebody has experienced abuse themselves, maybe somebody they know and love has, and they want to give back. So it doesn't have to be about, hey, we're asking y'all to write a check. That's not what we're doing, although checks are good.
Yes.
T-shirts aren't free to print. But, and that office space, it's going to have electric bills, okay? But at the end of this time together, our live video, I have got all of your links. I'm going to post them in the comments. So let's say somebody wants to volunteer. They're like, hey, I'm a graphic designer and I want to donate a logo to you, okay? Yeah. Or a branding package, okay? Let's think big. Yes. Would the email address, breakthesilence v2v@gmail.com, be the best way to reach out to you?
Yes, I check that regularly, so that would be a good start out point. And then also seeing where that person is at, if they wanted to do in-person volunteerism, and then we would just go from there. See what their email is about, what they're wanting to do with the organization, and then we would just go from there with further contact, depending if we needed to actually meet up or phone call, or just continue over email sometimes, depending on what they want to do.
Sure. Okay. Because again, thanks to technology, we can work with people, meet people wherever they are. And speaking of meeting, great segue. October 20th, I get to meet Brittney face to face, rub the baby belly if she'll let me. Always ask permission, y'all. Side note, little rabbit trail. When you see a mother with child, don't go up and just rub her belly, y'all. That's rude. Ask permission. Personal space.
I did not pay her to say that, but that's so true.
Is that true? I mean, come on, y'all. Especially somebody whose background
Yeah.
may have involved abuse. Like, ask permission. Anyway, October 20th, we're going to
Yes.
be in Sheridan, Arkansas for a free, I mean, like, there's no charge to go except
Yeah.
your gas time to get there.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Break the Silence and, I don't know, maybe name drop who the speaker is.
Yes. So we wanted to keep going with events because, again, that helps with so much with awareness and community. And it's just amazing to have an event at least once a month. It's just crazy what that can do for the organization. Yes, there's some fundraising that goes in with that because people will donate or they'll buy a t-shirt or whatever it may be. And we need that. But the awareness of it to be able to spread the message is just incredible because you're almost guaranteed to meet at least one person at each event, who's been through it, or that the organization just impacts them tremendously. And so that's just so fun. And I wanted to keep that up. And so back in the summer, I knew of Helen already. We have actually been in contact probably since the beginning of the year. I knew that she was a wonderful speaker. I guess I'm dropping that now, Helen Elizabeth being the speaker. And I knew that I would want her at some point for Break the Silence, because, again, I guess this kind of goes back to my dreaming. Like, I know what I can envision, but you never know what God is going to do. And so I had no plan of, this is what I want to do or this is what I want to have. I had nothing in, like, even really thought up into detail. And so back in the summer, find out that she's going to be able to speak for Break the Silence and scream in my car whenever I find out because I'm so excited. And so, of course, it goes to setting a date and when do you want to do it? And you got to think about all the logistics and everything. And so I thought, well, I don't want to be too pregnant in December or January and not be able to fully help or do things. And so we set the date of October 20th, which for me, I'm a big October fan. The weather, just everything about October. So I thought, okay, a perfect fall event. And then, what do you want to title it and how do you want the event to go? And so I actually went to a conference back in August and I really liked how they laid out the conference, like with timing and detail and everything. And I thought, you know what? We came up when we became official 501c3, it was, we want to expand more than just Break the Silence. What do we want the rest of that name to be? I started out 5 years ago, Break the Silence, or I started out just Prevent Child Abuse. Then I moved to Break the Silence, Preventing Child Sexual Abuse. Then I went back to Prevent Child Abuse. And you're like, do you want to get specific? And how do you want to do it? I mean, it's just so much that goes into it. And that's when I realized, again, preventing is so important, but I also just see so many survivors in it. And so I thought Break the Silence, Victim to Victory, because how much we all fall victim and feel like we are victims and we live in that victim mindset. So how do we move to being victorious and overcoming what's happened to us? And so I thought, why not name the event Victim to Victory? Because that's going to help us promote that that's what we are, Break the Silence, Victim to Victory. But just in general, again, we all need that. We need to learn how to move from that victim mindset to being victorious. And so I kind of laid out the schedule like a conference I'd been to where the doors will open at 9 and we'll have meet and greet and breakfast provided from 9:15 to 9:45. You can meet Helen one-on-one, just get a picture with her. We'll have a photo booth, of course. Have a Break the Silence booth. You can buy tons of merchandise. You can meet the band that we have coming. You can just hang out with us, really. Just get a really good hangout, one-on-one, intentional time from 9:15 to 9:45, and then all migrate back into the auditorium. And session begins at 10. We'll have some worship, and then Helen will speak, and just watch God move through that. And then after that, you're going to be able to have the opportunity to give a love offering. And then we will go back into where we had the meet and greet and do lunch. Lunch will be provided too. And then after lunch, be able to get a little bit deeper, kind of like with the meet and greet, and do a Q&A with Helen. So if you want to stand up with a microphone and say, hey, Helen, here's my question, or here's what I've been through, how do I overcome? Or if you want to use an index card, because we understand those questions can be really hard to ask sometimes. You can write it on an index card, and your question will be anonymous. And so have that really intentional time too after with the Q&A. Again, still meet her, grab some photos, grab some merchandise, whatever it may be, and then dismiss at 2. So that's all happening from pretty much 9 to 2. It's kind of 10 to 2 if you can't make it for the meet and greet and for breakfast. But breakfast will be provided, lunch will be provided, and again, completely free. We do not want anyone be prevented or prevent anyone from coming because of an admission fee. Because there's all types of people who may walk through those doors. Women who were beaten the night before at their house, or women who have been through what I've been through, you've been through, or what women who, I mean, there's all types. We have no clue. And I don't want to prevent anyone from being able to come because of an admission fee. And there'll be other women, there'll be all types, or it could be men too. There'll be all types of people who may be on a very good recovery process, but we all need that refuel and that motivation and that inspiration of how to move from that victim to victory.
Yeah, that's right. And you definitely hit on something just now, Brittney. When it comes to abuse, there is no profile. There is no specific demographic that if you meet this, and this criteria, you're destined. It is everywhere. You can be in a mansion on the hill or a shack in the valley, and everywhere in between. Hurt people. Yes. That's the bottom line. And so I want to encourage everyone who's watching this, who is still with us, if, we've asked you to agree with, almost called you Helen, Brittney, in prayer about the office space, type in a hello. We're getting ready to wrap things up. We appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to learn more about Break the Silence. And if you are somebody who's ever done something brave, maybe you started a 501c3, maybe you've got a platform, maybe you are a victor in whatever area of your life, type brave into the comments, because something else that Brittney touched on is that victim mindset. It affects every area of our life, whether you've been abused or not abused. So if you've done something brave, if you've broken that victim mindset and you're living in victory, or are willing to, type brave into the comments. And I just want to close with the links. Again, I'm going to put all kinds of links. A link to the event. It's a little bit.ly link. I've shortened it so they can go straight to the Eventbrite calendar and register. I'm going to put the website for Break the Silence. I'm going to give you all Brittney's email address, her Instagram account. I'm doing it with permission. I'm going to even include, I'm serious, this is me, not Brittney. I'm going to give you the mailing address. So if you want to send a check, feel free. Make it out to Break the Silence. But get in touch, share about this. True ministry is what it is, because we are not created to live in pain, to live as victims, and to live in that space of being hurt. We were designed to live in victory, just like Brittney has shared. And so, Brittney, I want to, of course, thank you for coming on today. I can't wait to meet you in just a few short weeks. And I want to thank everybody who's been watching either live or the recording, even on YouTube. Thank you. I'm going to post the links in YouTube as well. And I want just to encourage everybody to remember, you have a choice, you have a voice, you matter, and you can live a well-done life each and every day, and do so in victory. Yes. Brittney, thank you. Thank you, viewers. Bye for now.